Welcome back to the Seven Deadly Sins anime review, episode number 25. Last week I reviewed a new chapter of the manga. This week, nope. I think it has been released, but I haven't found it yet, so I'll probably review it next week. Yep, this one reviewing just newest episode of the anime, episode 71, The Holy War Pact. And this episode adapted the entirety of chapters 250 to 252. Though for 252, they did something quite interesting with this one, where the opening 3 pages of the chapter are actually ending of the episode itself. Picking up, now, aside from the fact that I kind of added a couple things here and there, mostly put, this is pretty accurate to how it's back in the manga, which, it's getting a lot better. I mean, there was one episode, the one where they had Melios fight Escanor, and a lot of people didn't really care for it. And surprisingly, and this I thought was really shocking for this episode, we actually got a lot more blood than usual in this episode. Yes, there's actually a moment in this episode I'm like, man, I'm surprised they didn't cut that down. It's depicted exactly the same, which I'm kind of surprised from the episode I found anyways. Now, the episode starts off with basically, picking up where last week's episode left off, we have Zidros, basically blocking the attack, going back to the attack that was sent by the goddess, who basically, they kind of reveal that, we actually have Gil actually talking to her. Well, Larciel, the leader of the Archangels, the guy who's a complete dick. Yeah, the guy is a terrible person. And yet, this guy is the leader of the Archangels. A guy who, I think for a lot of people, they probably don't care for this character at all because of how much he's a terrible person. And yet, he's possessing the beautiful Margaret. Because he wanted to, for some reason. I have no idea why. And also, for some reason, and this is even saying in the manga, I'm like, okay, where's Vivian? Like, did they forget, like, in the manga, there's no shot of her at all the whole time they're showing this scene. Even the anime kept this in, which I thought that was weird. I mean, last time I checked, Vivi is basically bleeding out from a cut in her throat from Margaret, from the angel-possessed Margaret, and yet this episode doesn't show her at all. There's nothing to it, which I thought that was kind of weird. Yep, so, like, they say they go back, of course they get blasted by Zidros, so they survive perfectly fine. And Elizabeth, now we have the 7 deadly sins minus Meliodas, mostly it's just Merlin, Deanne, and King, just these 3, and Escanor, along with Hawk, go into Camelot, free all the knights, and all the rest of the people who were kidnapped from Leonis. And they all get basically sort of scared, they're running away and get teleported from demons. And even Merlin brings out a giant praying mantis to sort of basically terrorize people. But look how it works. And then all of a sudden, Elizabeth shows up, running through the crowd. Now, they actually do keep the scene here where they do make a slight alteration here, where you have Melios briefly seen in the episode. Aside from an image, he's seen like a couple times in the episode, and a couple brief cameos. Yeah, the main character of the series shows up briefly. Shows up seeing flying the wind looking for Elizabeth, and then she's seen like later in the episode looking at something, which I'll get to in a minute. Now we have Chandler, who decides to pull out his own cheeks and form demons. Luckily enough, they actually don't show it from the manga, where it looked like he was going to pull out his own cheeks. In the anime, it looks like it's like some goo, basically, from his cheeks. And form these little spawn tunas to kill Elizabeth. And one of them actually finds Elizabeth and actually slits top of her forehead. Now, I'm actually quite surprised they kept this in, because normally when they show stuff like this, they actually trim this down, but no. Yeah, it's very gory. And I'm surprised, I'm shocked the fact they kept that in. Like, wow, that's quite something. And lucky enough, Deanne basically crushes the damn thing. And of course, she picks up Elizabeth, like basically kind of like a doll, like a woman picking up a doll. And Elizabeth uses her own healing powers to heal her forehead. And then she goes back to the boar hut. And she already knows what happened with Meliodas. Okay. She doesn't ask where Gothor. I think she does know what was going to Gothor. She doesn't ask where Bon is, surprisingly. Yes, Bon, they don't really ask, like Like, he's mentioned in the episode, he does not make a physical appearance. Why? Because he's off in purgatory looking for Meliodas' emotions, which that would be one of the plot threads for the very next arc of the series. And even though he's mentioned a couple times, not seen. He's not mentioned in a particular scene. He's mentioned later, but not in this scene. And so let's go back to Leonis. Now, they do have this really cool thing they added in here, where you have the King of Leonis, Basil, basically woken up. Yeah, the way they did it here was actually quite interesting. It's like, okay, like he's mentioning, and basically kind of opposite. Basically, is he opens up his doors from the inside, the back, and you see that. Oh yeah, like basically the citizens of Leonis were kidnapped along with the Holy Knights, all return. Then you had the Seven Nose Hens come out. I mean, Merlin's wearing her normal attire, which she normally wears. For some reason, King decided to go his fat form for some reason. I have no idea why. He just did. Deanne's wearing her usual attire. And Elizabeth basically is wearing her normal look. Walks her father, is like, and of course her father is like shocked to see what her eyes look like now. And they have a slight wording change here. It's like, I have something to talk to you about. And it's actually a slight cutoff here, where actually in the manga it says, I'll talk to you something later. It's like, okay. And that's when Larcio shows up. With, like, everything is like new assistants. No, they're just basically three of the Archangels. Of course, Deanne and King know who these three are. Yeah, they don't like these three people at all, especially since they saw in the past that the goddess Elizabeth beat the crap out of two of them. Yep. And mostly put up until they get toward the end of the episode where they show, like, it's like they kind of basically do the whole thing of the 252. They kind of show that the particular chapter a bit out of order, because as soon as after that they show the sequence of Gil Thunder and Hauser training, and then we have the scene where we have Henderson with the three of the four Archangels, and of course he asked the question, where's the fourth member? And like the Blue Knights show up, and they basically say, yeah, we don't fully trust you, and then of course offer a gift because he'll bleed or cry, and he gives him a gift, gets power up, and then she answers, basically says, he's gone, he's dead, killed by 10 Commandments. Well, here's kind of the thing. If Gil Thunder was there, he would say, yeah, you're a liar, because I saw Gil Thunder. I saw Mel. Yeah, he's one of the 10 Commandments. He's the one who apparently Escanor, he was one Escanor fought in the previous season, and yet, I'm surprised no one could walk up to us and say, hey, that's a lie. He's actually alive. Yeah, we actually know a guy who actually beat the crap out of him. And last Escanor saw him, he beamed to a freaking coma. Not mentioned in this episode, we also see Dreyfus and his son just drinking at a bar. Yep, because that was in the manga. And then the episode ends very, like, they actually, the first few pages of chapter 52 play over the opening credits, the closing credits of the episode, which I thought the scene was done really well in the episode. They got a lot of the meat there. I would say the dialogue is mostly the same. I think maybe they changed a couple words here and there. Mostly put, it's a great scene. And I am so happy that, unlike other chapters in the past, where they actually cut out portions of it for absolutely no reason at all, these three chapters, they actually kept surprisingly everything in. That's one thing interesting you can say about this particular arc, the Prelude New Holy War, is a good majority of this arc, they're actually pretty accurate to the actual episode, the manga itself. If you want to ask me personally, like, what is by far the weakest episode? It's the episode where they first fought Chandler. Yeah. This episode was so boring, and, like, it was that from chapters 238, 240. Like, if you read those chapters, you'd be bored out of your mind because how terrible these chapters are. Look how it does get better after that. And as in this episode, there's only 4 chapters left of the arc. Yeah, because the arc itself went to 256 and started 257. Up until, I think it was like 312, I think it was. That was the New Holy War arc. And then, of course, we had the Demon King arc, which lasted a brief period of time. And now we have the current arc, which I have heard this, I've got to mention this here, that it has been confirmed that there's one more volume left to come out for Seven Deadly Sins. And people are assuming there's about 5... this was released on Twitter, believe it or not. Yes, Twitter. There's even an article online about it. Check it out. that the manga is apparently going to end in 5 chapters. Yes, 5 chapters. So I'm like, damn, that's something. Yeah, which makes us the second, third manga, basically. I would say second manga, basically, I've been reviewing, where it actually ends while I'm still reviewing it. Like, the only time this happened to me was with Tokyo Ghoul Re. They actually ended the manga, like, while I was doing the reviews for it. They actually, well, because they released it during the time I was still reviewing the anime for Re. So this is the second one doing it for, and apparently they're gonna do it for Attack on Titan because apparently it's been confirmed the current arc is gonna be last one, but they haven't really confirmed yet when it's supposed to start this year. I think I've heard something about this summer possibly. I'm not sure. Yep. But in case you're wondering how many episodes are left this season, I would say currently about 5. I'd say if they go for 24 episodes. Yeah, the official episode count for the season was never officially released. Some people are assuming it's 24 episodes. Mainly because of the fact that the previous 2 seasons of the show were in fact 24 episodes long, so people won't be surprised if this is indeed 24 episodes. Yep. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. I have one more review I'm going to do, and this is a bit of a surprise, especially since it's not Friday or Saturday. I'm reviewing the newest chapter of Fire Force. Yep. Producing next to you. Bye.